Welcome in, everyone, and thank you for listening to the 261st ever episode of the Missouri Sports Podcast, brought to you by 106 Apparel and recording from the MSP studio in beautiful Springfield, Missouri. I'm one of your hosts, Cameron Albert, alongside my good friend and fellow Mizzou fan, Kyle DeVries. How you doing today, Kyle?
I'm doing great, Cameron. How are you?
I'm doing well. Quite a football game we had last week. Football is back, folks.
Lots of football games.
NFL starts this weekend.
Yeah, Thursday.
Thursday.
Chiefs play Thursday.
I keep thinking it's Thursday. We're recording a little earlier than
That's
usual.
True.
Weird timing of week one messed everything up.
Yeah, all the college games on Saturday made me feel like NFL was the next day.
Yeah.
But not yet.
No, but you had LSU, Florida State, Sunday.
That's true. I watched some of that.
Clemson. That was yesterday.
Last night.
Wow. They're really spreading them out for week one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're ready for NFL season, I'm sure.
I am.
Fantasy football time, Chiefs time. But who's Patrick Mahomes going to throw the ball to?
I don't know.
Sky Moore.
Probably. I feel I think that every year. Like
That's true.
It's like who is catching? Like he's throwing like 50 touchdowns. Like and Travis Kelce catches a lot of them. But like where are the other ones? Who else is catching the ball?
That's true. We get to reinvent himself every year, basically, with the supporting cast. Well, we're going to talk all about that South Dakota game. We're going to talk about Middle Tennessee, and we might even talk about Brady Cook, the Missouri Tiger quarterback, a little bit. So before we get into that, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, leave us a review wherever you listen to us, and of course, you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Missouri Sports Pod. So, Kyle. The fact of the matter is Missouri beat South Dakota 35-10, and they were up 38-3 at halftime. Sorry, 28-3 at halftime. But
Scored -3 in the second half.
They took points off the board.
It felt like it.
It did kind of feel like it. So yeah, that's what we need to figure out is what exactly went on in this game, and trying to figure out the best way to sort of like set the table here. And I did write down some of the things we said last week before the game. And I kind of just want to take you through my thought process and see if it matches yours, or maybe you can help me through my issues here surrounding this first game of the season. So last week, Kyle, you said, we were talking about the quarterback battle, the quarterback competition. You said Sam Horn has been given opportunities to prove himself, and if he was good enough to take us to a place where we haven't been, I think we would know at this point. So I felt like listening back to it, we definitely were kind of like setting the stage for Brady Cook to be the starter and not really look back. You pointed out Sam Horn's still a redshirt freshman. I said, I think Brady Cook is the guy as far as the coaching staff is concerned. And if you just watch the games this year, meaning if you were not around for all the preseason talk and all the press conferences and everything, if you just watch the games this year, it won't look like it was much of a toss-up.
Yeah, that ended up being pretty much spot on.
And I feel like we still talked about what we, maybe the most desired outcome would be even Sam Horn showing that he was ready to lead the team, and or Brady Cook stepping up and showing beyond a shadow of a doubt that it's his team and he's ready to go. Mm-hmm. I guess we got much closer to that than Sam Horn showing that he could do much, because Brady Cook has officially been named the starter for week 2, skipping ahead a little bit, and he is the starting quarterback for Missouri for the foreseeable future unless anything changes. Drink wants to still get Sam Horn some snaps. We'll get to that later. But how it felt like, and you even said in the preview, we're not going to learn very much from this game. Yet, I knew all that. I knew it was just an FCS opponent, week 1. But as soon as the game started, I felt this like tension and anxiety, the feeling like I needed to find out more about this team than it was possible to find out. Mm-hmm. It felt like I needed everything to go better than it possibly could in that game to feel relieved.
Right. Yeah. I have a lot of thoughts, and I know that we're recording this on Tuesday of the following week, and so we've had time to kind of process what we witnessed, and that goes for probably most of you watching or listening to this. So we might be backtracking a little bit in your mind. But I do think we need to kind of talk about what happened last week. And I guess, I'll start with, I do think we came into the game thinking like we shouldn't have too many takeaways here unless things just go terribly. They didn't go terribly. So we probably just shouldn't have that many takeaways from this, but yet it still feels like there is. And, I think ultimately I understand that Brady Cook performed well in the game, but I didn't account for the fact that the game would probably be out of reach. And in garbage time, by the time Sam Horn got out there, I think I would have loved to see him get a fair shake, but I understand that's not how it happened, and that's fine. I got to live with that. I have so many thoughts. I'm not even sure where I was going here. But
well, you bring up Sam Horn getting a fair shake, and that I think is a big point of contention among the fan base, or at least was shortly after the game, during the game for sure. Mm-hmm. And on that point specifically, I can't help but feel like this is entirely on Coach Drinkwitz and his communication the last few weeks. Do you think I'm off base there?
No. And I feel like I already got to a can of worms. I already opened a can of worms that I wasn't ready to get to yet. But I think it's totally fair to say that this competition was going on all offseason. Sam Horn had a chance to win it and didn't. And maybe he didn't deserve to have equal snaps. So, like, it's Coach Drinkwitz's job. It's his team. He has full ability to divvy up the snaps however he wants to. And, if Sam Horn gets the scraps at the end of the game, then that's how it goes. And I think that we'd all say that's perfectly fine. Yep. And if Brady Cook won the job outright in the summer and the off season and fall camp, and it didn't really come down to this game, that's fine. But just tell us that.
Yeah.
Be honest with us. And I think that's maybe just where there's a little bit of contention. And it's not a huge deal, but I think we would have maybe preferred a little bit more honesty that this is Brady Cook's job, and Sam Horn had a chance to take the bull by the horns and didn't. And, I think that's something all season that we're going to be thinking about in the back of our minds when this team potentially and inevitably struggles on offense. We're going to be thinking, what could we have in the backup Sam Horn? But I don't think we're ever going to know. And I think we just need to live with that. And I think Brady Cook played well. He did what he needed to do. I think there's still concerns I have that I had last year that don't really look like they are going to be any better. I still think that he struggles to see downfield very well, and I think he kind of operates within like a 15-yard box. It's what it feels like watching him sometimes, but let's see him play better competition and see what happens when he needs to step up a little bit more.
Yeah, so to stick with Cook for a little bit, 17 of 21 passing, which is pretty good, 172 yards. That's good for 8.2 yards per attempt. He had one touchdown. Some of his throws were fairly impressive. Obviously, a lot of side-to-side passing, but we have Luther Burton, who can turn nothing into a touchdown on some of those plays, and the touchdown throw to Mekhi Miller, 18-yard touchdown pass. Coach Drink talked about it in the I guess it was today's press conference after you had been able to watch film, and something that it seemed like, I'm not necessarily a X's and O's breaking down film type of guy, but it looked like when I rewatched the game that Brady Cook was legitimately keeping one of the safeties closer to the sideline to make sure that he just had to throw it over the linebacker to hit Miller, who he knew would be crossing into the center of the end zone. That looked like a legit, I know what I'm doing to turn this play into a touchdown. And so I was impressed by that. But then, you have the high throw to Weiss that should have been a first down close to the red zone.
Probably should have been caught.
Maybe it should have been caught, but, a throw on the money, and that's an easy first down. Mm-hmm. And, scoring opportunity. And then later in the second quarter, there was a throw to Luther Burden on the far sideline from the TV angle that I thought was another just like sneaky good throw where he made Luther Burden come back and get it just a little bit, and it made the safety not be able to get over there in time to make a play. And so I felt like, looking back or watching the game a second time, it really felt like we saw everything we needed out of Cook. That's not even to mention his touchdown run. And Coach Drinkwitz talked about how the defense that South Dakota brought out, was different than anything they had seen on film. So that kind of threw him for a loop, but they were able to adapt. Mm-hmm. And watching both quarterbacks a second time, there is maybe a little bit of a negative to this, but you definitely feel like Brady Cook is like, oh, you want to take away the deep stuff? That is not a problem. I know how to check the ball down, and I know how to find these underneath routes. Mm-hmm. So we'll just nickel and dime you all the way down the field.
Yeah, that felt like a good adjustment by him, because they definitely came out wanting to take away the explosive plays with two high safeties. And, we've seen that in the NFL. Even like some of the best quarterbacks in the NFL have really struggled with that being a more prominent defense. And it's just tough to make big plays down the field when they're just kind of having two safeties just kind of rovering out in the middle of the field. So, and it kind of forces you to have to, like you just said, nickel and dime. So, and we know Brady Cook, he can do that.
Right. That's why I said
there's no problem doing that.
There's a negative side to that, that we've seen a lot of that.
Right.
But.
And he did do that well. I mean, he completed most of his passes in this game, and maybe could have even completed a couple more if guys made the catch. So, yeah, I think it's really, really hard to draw any conclusions from one half of football, especially against an FCS team where pretty much everything they do is like with an asterisk, because it's against a lower level of competition. But yeah, I think ultimately I'm excited to see more Brady Cook against a little bit better team on Saturday. Of course, would love to see more quality snaps for Sam Horn, but that's just not going to happen, I don't think, at this point. So.
Well, quality is a little bit subjective.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
So I'm at this point, I've accepted that Brady Cook will probably play all of the season, and I'm kind of excited to see what development that he can make.
Yeah. So when I was comparing the two, it did seem like Sam Horn was looking deep on every drop back, but then was just a little bit slower to get away from the deep stuff and check it down where guys were wide open.
Yeah.
And so...
which is clearly the vibe that we've gotten all offseason, is like his physical talent, his raw ability, we know what it is. Like, it's clearly very intriguing. But maybe some of the off-the-field stuff, maybe some of the work ethic, maybe the intangibles, maybe his ability to read the defense and adjust when they're playing two high safeties, that kind of stuff just clearly isn't what Brady Cook is capable of. And so that's giving Cook the edge right now. But, I mean, yeah, you got to give it to Horn on a couple of those throws were just beautiful.
Yeah,
and that's
another
the thing.
over-the-middle throw to Miller.
That's the throw that will just keep the fans coming back wanting more, myself included. I'm right there. I'm just like, it's so exciting to see a Missouri quarterback make plays like he makes sometimes, and even just in the extremely limited time he's played, he makes some plays that are super exciting.
Yeah, but to put a final note on the conversation about the quarterback competition, my thoughts are Coach Drinkwitz seemed to me like he had his mind made up, understandably so, and as far as I'm concerned, the correct decision for Brady Cook to be the starter before this game. And if you want to, keep things a secret and not, show your whole hand, whatever, I think some of that stuff is a little bit silly, but the coaches have every right to do that if they want. But you're just kind of begging for fans to freak out a little bit when how you're conveying that battle taking place behind the scenes doesn't add up once we're actually, no longer behind the scenes. When we're on the stage and we're seeing everything come to fruition in that first game, it was just kind of obvious, like, okay, everything we're looking at here says Brady Cook's the starter. But now, for me personally, I'm ready. I'm ready to not think about who the starting quarterback is until Brady Cook.
Don't check Twitter.
is no longer a Missouri Tiger.
Yeah.
Like when he's out of eligibility, that's when I'm ready to have this conversation again.
I believe we'll be having this conversation again before that happens. Yeah, I would say Coach Drinkwitz had another one of those "are you thinking before you speak" moment in the press conference after the game, the post-game press conference. You know, he was saying, which I guess it's true, I don't really owe you guys anything. I don't care about public perception on the relating to the quarterback competition. That's fine. I mean, you have that right, but you just. I don't know that you want to pick a fight with the fans and the media and whoever else like on this. It's just come out and be transparent in week 1. All this is avoided.
Yeah.
And he learned his lesson.
Or just don't say anything.
Yeah.
Just say, we'll have the quarterback that goes out there first. You'll see who the starter is when they start the game. That'd be fine. But all the, weeks of just like talking up this competition, I understand the fans that are a little bit frustrated. But at the same time, obviously, the entire decision wasn't going to come down to
this game. Yeah.
And I, for one, I think let that become the case in my head. And I would say Coach Drink did some things along the way to help that happen.
That's probably true. I think we maybe got finessed a little bit and probably put too much on this one game where and I mean I was coming into the second half thinking like, here we go.
Yes.
Sam Horn time.
Yes. Especially that first throw.
And yeah, well, I mean, even before that, like, at halftime, I was getting all antsy, like, all right, here we go, Sam Horn. And then South Dakota has a 55-minute drive to open the third quarter, and it basically takes the entire quarter.
That was one of the most bizarre things to watch a second time, because I had turned that into like a successful drive for them, because of how much it impacted the game after that. That was a 17-play drive that went for 41 yards.
Yeah, they didn't even score.
No.
They did not even score a field goal.
No.
And it took almost 10 minutes of game time, literally.
17 plays.
And yeah, so I think that was maybe even just adding to the frustration of like, okay, Sam Horn is not going to get a fair shake in this game regardless, but now it's even worse because it's garbage time by the time he takes the field. Yeah.
It was just like an annoying, ugly drive that nothing bad even happened from it, but it just felt gross and like, okay, let's get this game over with.
Exactly. They were, after halftime, they were ready to get in and get out and try to avoid injuries and stuff like that, which I get, but
they could have tried harder to avoid injuries.
Okay. I'll hear that argument. Oh. Luther Burden playing in returning punts in the fourth quarter. I hear you.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that in just a sec. That South Dakota 17-play drive ended with I believe they converted 2 fourth downs, but then on the second or third fourth down attempt, freshman by the last name of
Marvin Burks,
blew up the play.
Yes, he did.
And that was good to see. And Coach Drinkwitz talked about him after the game and said he doesn't even view him as a freshman because he was early enrollee. That, to me, just like sure thing, he's going to be out there in some meaningful moments this year.
Yes, I believe Marvin Burks is #good.
Yeah. And no, I don't think we're going to need to like tally up the number of games.
No.
I would say after 4 games this season, he will no longer be eligible for a red shirt.
100%.
Now, we'll be jumping around all over the place here a little bit. But yeah, Luther Burden returning punts in the fourth quarter. I need to, first of all, just completely walk back everything I said last week about it being overblown that Luther Burden is returning punts and that he could be injured. I take it back. I don't want him to do it anymore.
Last week you said, I'm fine with him returning punts.
Yes. Maybe there's some nuance here that I'll get to, but you say your piece first.
I mean, what are we doing? Like, our Luther Burden's returning punts. Chris Abrams-Drain is the kickoff returner. What are we doing? And Coach Drinkwitz has said he's taken over special teams this offseason. That's kind of part of his move away from offensive coordinator. So everything he goes to, I'm wondering what's going on here. But yeah, I mean, I'm fine with Luther Burden returning punts occasionally, like if we need a big play in a competitive game or whatever.
He could be in the rotation of punt returners. even if it's just two guys.
But I mean, literally nobody, no football team you ever watched and respect at any level has their best players returning punts and kicks. And I hate it.
What about in the fourth quarter when you're up 3 scores against a FCS opponent?
No, that's the perfect time. Yeah, he just got absolutely laid out by old boy Farmer, offensive lineman or whatever.
Well, a few things here. First of all, Luther Burden, try not to get shaken up challenge. Difficulty impossible. Every punt, like it's like a requirement that he has to get up and shake something off. And it's like, bro, you were giving us a heart attack every single time.
Yeah.
So if you can't do that, then the coaching staff, do us a favor, get him out of there.
Yeah. Honestly, if I learned anything from the South Dakota game, and I probably already knew this in the back of my mind, but if something happens to Luther Burden, season's over.
Yeah.
Because he's it. He is it. And like anytime we need a big play, I mean, he was the only person consistently giving us that against an FCS opponent.
Yeah, well,
you got to have him a bubble wrap.
Yeah, I agree. It's insane that he went back out there to field a punt that late in the game. But also, I feel like I'm going to come back around to being okay with him out there in SEC games
Occasionally.
Yeah, even maybe anytime that the game is close.
This is a weird kind of walk back.
Well, if we're not playing an FCS team, then our guy, special teams extraordinaire lineman, who lays him out when he's almost out of bounds in the fourth quarter.
That was a perfect launch.
The only reason he's in a position to make that play is because he was so far away from where the play should have been made, down the field, where the punt was fielded. Like, Luther Burden makes a good play against players that shouldn't be on the same field as him in that situation in the fourth quarter in punt coverage, and then gets all the way up to the field where you should be past everybody but the punter. But no, here's this guy who was never going to be a part of the play unless he was able to, destroy.
Have the time to get there.
Exactly.
And, see it coming from miles away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry to that guy. I'm kind of roasting you here, but
I won't roast him. That was a great launch. Absolutely, just laid out.
It's not his fault.
He was
that
parallel
he was
with the ground.
Put in that position. Honestly,
that was an incredible athletic feat.
Yeah. Another challenge for Luther Burden: try to keep your helmet on. Maybe that's another thing that makes me nervous.
It came off at least 3 times in that game.
Yeah. I'm joking, but I swear he's got worked into some of these NIL contracts is like, you need to get some FaceTime on the camera. So if you can accomplish that, there's a bonus for you or something.
Oh my God. That's incredible.
Let's stick with special teams just a little bit before we talk about the defense and their performance. Harrison Mevis, 0 for 2 on field goals, 5 for 5 on extra points. One of those was weird looking, and got to do a redo.
That's putting it pretty nicely.
Yeah.
I mean, actually though, if you hadn't seen it or missed it or something, like it looked like he was kicking in hurricane winds.
Yeah.
Like what happened there?
I have to assume that he saw this guy be off sides and it was just
kind of
like
freaked him out.
Yeah, it ruined the whole thing because like this isn't even going to count, and are we even going to kick this right now? I don't know.
You have to be right. I would hope.
But there was something wrong with the field goal unit.
Yeah, the right side of the unit was just like didn't understand their assignments or something.
Just guys waltzing towards Mevis untouched. So yeah, 0 for 2 on field goal attempts. Don't love that. One was a bad, he was kicking the laces, bad snap, bad hold, potentially. Coach Drinkwitz said both of those guys are responsible for making sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, maybe Coach Drinkwitz shouldn't be coaching special teams.
Well, he made a good decision on the punter competition because Riley Williams looked good. We were very dismissive of the punter competition earlier this offseason. So I do want to mention Riley Williams looked really good punting, 2 40-yarders. He looked good.
I'm team never punt, remember?
That's true, but the staff disagrees with you, so it's good to have a punter back there that can do it. And speaking of punts, we got a blocked punt that until I saw the highlights put out by Mizzou Twitter, I legitimately thought that he missed it and it should have been a roughing the punter. But no, he tipped it. That's why the refs get paid the big bucks.
Scale of 1 to 10, how worried are you about Harrison Mevis after this performance?
How worried am I?
10 being like
I'm
really worried.
4.5 worried.
Okay.
I need to see the like protection hold up for an entire game, and
that's what I'll tell myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just protection.
Yeah.
They'll get that figured out.
Yeah. If he goes 0 for 2 and there's not some kind of weird looking obvious mess up happening on the line in this week's game, then we'll bump that up to a 6.5.
Okay. I agree with you perfectly.
It's weird that you can just destroy the punter, but if you just get your fingertip on the ball, everything's fine. Don't even trip.
It's all about intention. Were you trying to go for the ball or were you trying to hurt him?
If you just if you miss the ball by 0.5 centimeter, don't touch it at all, then you can't touch the punter. I don't want to see punters getting hurt, but it's kind of weird. Anything else? Let's finish up any offense we might have. Schrader looked good, 18 rushes for 138 yards and a touchdown. The offensive line looked like they were protecting well, opening up big holes in the running game.
Yeah. Everything has to be said with an asterisk because of the opponent, but I agree. And offensive line looked significantly improved to me, at least after one week. Man, I don't know. I still would love to get in this game. I mean, maybe I'm just excited to see the future of the program with all the different positions. I wanted to see more Sam Horn. I would have loved to see some of the younger running backs. At this point, Tavoris Jones isn't even that young.
Yeah.
The more of the explosive options that I believe we have.
Yeah.
But they pretty much Cody Schrader and Nathaniel Pete got pretty much all the carries, all the work.
Yeah, and Coach Drinkwitz said he's emphasizing pass protection from the running backs in week 2, so probably more of the same there. There's something else I was going to say. Tight ends, Stevens, 2 catches for 12 yards, 1 big first down. I think
that's just nothing this season. Again.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Love for somebody to step up and be the guy there, but
Brett Norfleet and Jordan Harris, I believe, will probably both not redshirt. They both played. Norfleet for sure. I think he played like 10 snaps in this game. He will probably not redshirt. So it'd be great to see him kind of take over that position as we go.
Luther Burden finishing the game off with just one of those making something out of nothing and turning it into a touchdown.
That
3 broken tackles
might have been the most impressive play he's had in a Mizzou uniform, and he's had some very impressive stuff.
Yeah,
but my God, he was like, I thought he was going to get tackled at the line of scrimmage, and he just running over people. They were just bouncing off of him.
He's pretty good. Okay, so defense. Defense held South Dakota's rushing attack to 38 yards on 35 carries. Can't ask for much more there. Johnny Walker Jr. led the team with 6 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. And the defense as a whole held to just 2 first downs out of 13 third down attempts.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure South Dakota did not get a first down until the second quarter. So you're probably thinking you're getting your best play in the first quarter when the game is still relatively close score-wise. You think you're probably getting the most accurate look at your defense in the first quarter. They played immaculately, just shutting down everything South Dakota wanted to do. And the pressure, the secondary, like at every level, they were so clean and did a really, really good job.
Along with that 1 tackle for loss for Walker, Christian Williams, Chuck Hicks, and Marvin Burks each had a tackle for loss. Rakestraw shared 1 and had a pass deflection. No complaints at all for me from the defense, especially to see an edge rusher sort of be the highlight in Johnny Walker and when that was a huge question mark.
Yeah, honestly,
hopefully we see more of that moving forward.
That was probably like maybe the most important thing that we saw in the entire game was just somebody that somebody just step up that maybe we weren't expecting, somebody to ease our concerns at probably what we would have said our weakest position. Yeah, he was everywhere and kind of almost even outshined. Who am I thinking? I'm literally drawing the biggest blank in the world right now.
Darius Robinson.
Darius Robinson. Oh my God. Like outshined Robinson.
Yeah.
And even so, he looked like a stud.
Yeah, and he, in this game against inferior competition, allowed the interior to not have to make the big flashy plays. They just had to be solid, stuff the run, 1 yard per carry, basically. It just kind of took some pressure off of them.
Yeah.
There was one situation in particular that I thought was pretty great. South Dakota, after a penalty, had 1st and goal at the 6-yard line and ended up kicking a 40-yard field goal. That was nice to see. That was in the second quarter, I think. I can't remember exactly, but I think it was their first score of the game. It was like one of those where it's like, okay, they got all the way down here. We just had a penalty in the end zone. If they score here, nobody's going to think too poorly of the defense, but they were like, nope, we're going to force them to kick a field goal.
Yeah, I think eventually they were maybe getting a little lazy on some of those. They were running some really weird routes and stuff too, kind of leaving guys in the intermediate routes open. But for the most part, I think the defense looked like they pretty much were going to maintain how good they were. At least they showed signs that they were going to be able to do that.
So far, so good there. I am kind of, this game kind of soured me on the whole playing against an FCS opponent thing.
Yeah.
Like, I hated the vibe.
You liked it before, though?
I kind of did. It was like, kind of made sense to like ramp up the difficulty level, I guess. Okay. But I think I was in like video game brain on that. But, I said start the season with Illinois, end it with Kansas. I would take that every season, which Kansas and Illinois are playing each other.
They are.
That's
this weekend.
So dumb. I mean,
is it dumb?
I think it is because Missouri doesn't get to play them.
They get to have like a fun regional game.
Yeah, they're just like jumping over us.
Yeah, nobody wants to play us.
Yeah, they're scared of us. There we go. But I didn't like even like the broadcast. It felt like they were calling the game like it was a scrimmage sometimes. And it just was this weird, it felt like a weird like transitional game from off season to the actual season.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that vibe.
Yeah.
I want to start week 1 with a real game.
Yeah, it's like bittersweet kind of. It's like football's back and this game means nothing.
Kind of
and
fake.
It's kind of boring and I agree with you.
So that's my little pitch for
I mean, there's 13 regular season games, 12 regular season games. Like every game is a precious gift. Cameron,
exactly.
And every game has its own little story, its own narratives. Like we got to have more quality games.
Yeah.
And that FCS stuff.
The story and narrative around this was it's basically practice. Maybe we'll figure out who the starting quarterback is.
Yeah, the narrative behind this was like, we can't tell anything from this game. Oh, wait, yes, we're actually going to analyze everything. And then after the game, it was like, nothing really matters, actually.
Yeah. Don't care for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it makes me realize that, of course, Alabama had figured it out a long time ago. You throw this game later in the season. You throw this game to like week 10 or 11, and then the fan base is like, oh, thank goodness we get to have a week off, basically, and still get a win. Of course, they figured it out.
Yeah, this could have been like a free bye week, basically, later in the season.
Yeah. Instead, it's just like
not a free bye week, but
FCS teams are getting better.
Yeah.
That's the word on the street is, don't underestimate your opponent, is what people are saying.
Exactly.
Yeah, so Missouri's 1-0. We love to see it. It's fantastic. Brady Cook's your starter. Drink in the post-game press conference, he said he had some weird stuff. We talked about that, but he said Cook had a leg up on the quarterback competition going into this game, and that's why he was out there first.
He also said he's the kind of man he would want his daughters to date.
He went when they get older. He went on this whole Brady Cook tirade at the end of it, and he was like channeling this like everybody's against Cook and everybody wants to talk about Sam Horn type of thing. And it's like, bro, you're kind of only talking to a few people on the internet. when you say that. Like,
he's reading the hidden replies on Twitter.
he is like listening to somebody that's he's either on Twitter too much or somebody's telling him like to try to like pump him up or something that this is the chatter, because I don't feel like the press has been the problem here.
No, I don't think so.
I think their questions about the quarterbacks have been pretty reasonable. So we move on to Middle Tennessee State, week 2. Mizzou, as of right now, 20.5-point favorite at home. Middle Tennessee is 0-1 after losing to Alabama. They got smoked 56-7. In that game, starting quarterback, what's his name? Nick Vattiato, threw for 127 yards on 32 attempts. Not great. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The ground game couldn't really get going for them either. Just 78 yards on the ground. They also lost 2 fumbles. And the Alabama quarterback was super efficient against the Middle Tennessee defense. And that's what happens when you play Alabama, I guess.
Yeah.
So can Missouri just run it back and make Middle Tennessee really understand what it's like to play 2 SEC opponents back-to-back weeks?
Yeah, honestly, I'm really excited for the defense in this game because I think this will. I don't know how to explain this, but I think South Dakota was so bad on offense, especially that the defense didn't even know what to do with it. Sometimes, like just they were running some really, really bizarre little intermediate routes and stuff that they were like kind of struggling with at times. I think this will be like a little bit more of like a traditional air raid offense where the secondary is going to have a little bit more fun. I think they're going to be out there running around a little bit more than they were against South Dakota. I mean, they just didn't have to do anything against South. I mean, they were just chilling. And
that'll be the last time I ever try to predict what an FCS offense is going to do in a game because nobody knew what was about to happen with the new offensive coordinator for South Dakota.
They didn't even know what was going to happen.
Exactly.
So I think this will be a little bit more. This would just be a much better viewing experience for everybody. I think.
If it's not, you come talk to Kyle.
Come talk to me. I would certainly hope that this game is not competitive by any stretch. I don't think that's impossible, but I think the defense is going to feast a little bit though, and I'd love to see more turnovers. I'd love to see just more plays in general. I actually think that last week's game just flew by.
Yeah. Well, no more stopping the clock on first down.
And I looked into that a little bit, actually. Okay. If we're going a little bit of a tangent here.
Let's do it.
I read an article from The Athletic that last season, college football games on average had about 180 plays. And in this game, just this one game alone, Missouri versus South Dakota, there was roughly 140 plays. I think I just didn't count kickoffs. I don't know if I was supposed to count those or not. But so roughly 140 plays. And so that's a pretty significant drop off.
Yeah.
It felt like it in the game, especially the second half. It was like just over in a blink.
Obviously that one drive.
The clock was just melting from, running plays or the clock not stopping, all that stuff. It just kind of being garbage time, all of those things combined. But it didn't really feel like there was any meaningful play going on at all in the second half. And so I'm just excited to see hopefully a full football game of...
Did that Athletic article have any takeaways of like...
Well, I can't even remember if it was... I think it was written like before the season started. Yeah. So it was just kind of...
It'll be interesting to see what people are saying once we've had a few weeks to see what the result is.
Chip Kelly made like a public statement about it in like an in-game interview setting, basically kind of making fun of it, saying like, I hope you guys are selling more commercials or something like that. And because it's making a difference in the game.
Yeah.
And I agree with him.
Yeah.
I think it makes a big difference. And and the game time from kickoff to end of the game really isn't that different because I guess they are doing more commercials or something. Mm-hmm. So, which we love that.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Don't be tricked, anybody, into thinking that like your game day experience is going to be like improved by this, or that was immediately jumped out to me. It was like, the commercial breaks when you're in the stadium are still going to be annoying. You're still going to have these stoppages in play where you're just kind of looking around like, this game should be started again. And at home, so many commercials. It's very frustrating. It's like, don't worry, we'll make the game shorter, but still fit as many commercials or more in.
Yeah. Yeah, but your commitment to watching the game will not change. Like
absolutely.
As far as how long you're sitting on the couch waiting for it to end. Yeah.
So that is just, without any doubt at all, a worse viewing
Objectively
experience.
worse.
Yes.
Yes. So, anyways, I am looking forward to hopefully more plays in this game, more meaningful snaps for everybody in general, and I am excited to see the defensive line and the secondary take advantage of like a quarterback who's not super great, but it's going to just chuck it over and over and over. So I think that could hopefully lead to more turnovers. There were no turnovers in the game last week except for Sam Horton's interception.
Yeah.
So that'd be fun. More turnovers.
Yeah, there was an opportunity on one fumble, but they got it back. And yeah, I mean, I feel like Missouri's defense against Middle Tennessee, they should be able to shut down the running game. I am not concerned at all about that. And I think they will effectively, kind of like what you're alluding to, make Middle Tennessee one-dimensional, and then just kind of be able to sit back and hopefully get some interceptions or something. It's pass deflections. But it feels like this is the type of team that Missouri's defense should look good against.
Yeah.
And I would think we should see some good grades come out after this week from those services that do that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see how the defensive line does in a little bit tougher matchup. I still think they should dominate, but man, Johnny Walker was such a breath of fresh air. Christian Williams had an incredible game. He looked absolutely dominant. Just honestly, it felt like we didn't even really need Darius Robinson.
Right.
He was kind of quiet. So,
yeah.
But I think any of those guys could step up at really any point. This year, any week, those guys could step up.
Yeah.
A different one.
Yeah, so I'm thinking defensive front is going to look good, and hopefully, like you said, make opportunities for the secondary to make some plays.
Yeah, it's basically just a continuation of last week.
It is this steady ramp up.
Keep doing the things you did well last week. We'll see Brady Cook for a full game, I'm assuming, and I'd love to see him continue. I'd love to see him adjust from last week if the defense allows that. I'd love to see more downfield throwing.
Exactly.
Get Theo Weiss a little bit more involved.
Yeah, it does give you something fun to try to analyze what the defense is doing in relation to what that allows Brady Cook to attempt to do. Because I would hate to see, we're halfway through the season. It's like, oh, okay, so is every defense, taking away the deep ball?
I think that could be a legitimate outcome.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Yeah, I'd like to see the offensive line, maybe we're not gashing them in the run game like we were able to an FCS opponent, but being able to make some holes for Schrader and Pete to have some running room.
Yeah, they were getting to like the second level before they were even getting touched.
Yeah, I don't expect that, but every once in a while we still need that throughout the season.
I will say, with incredibly out of order, but one random thing I just thought of that I loved from last week was that they were aggressive before halftime. There was they were calling timeouts. When South Dakota had the ball with 2 minutes left in the half, they were calling timeouts after a play.
Yeah.
And to get the ball back, and then they ended up scoring another touchdown right before half. So I will say that was maybe one of the best things I felt like I saw in the whole game as far as more macro level strategy.
Definitely. And Drinkwitz called that going on a run, where score, stop, score. And this game very easily could have been 14-3 at halftime if the offense is just kind of whatever, we're fine with just getting to halftime. But they scored twice in the last 2 minutes of the first half. And that's something that Brady Cook, honestly, has always been pretty good at in those 2-minute drill, end of half, end of game situations.
Mm-hmm.
Back to Middle Tennessee, though. I like the offense to, if Brady Cook is out there for the whole game, I'd like to see, them putting up points in all 3 of the first quarters of the game and have this thing out of reach in the 4th, and maybe you get to see Sam Horn.
Hand it off.
Coach Drinkwitz is acting like he wants to get Horn out there.
That's fine.
For some more opportunities this year. So it's just fairly normal. Redshirt freshman, backup, second stringer, you want to get him out there. So give me a prediction. Middle Tennessee only scored 7 last week. They're week. They're supposed to be in conference play. They're supposed to be one of the better offenses. What are you feeling?
Yeah, I think this game could be relatively more competitive than we would like in the first half, but I think Mizzou will pull away. I think they'll win 42-17. We talked about this last week. Didn't score in the first drive against South Dakota. Had to punt. So I'd like to see
Start fast.
please a first drive of the game score.
Even if it's, will it just take a field goal at this point?
I suppose.
A made field goal.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good thing to maybe want to see in this game is some made field goals, extra points.
Give me a dominant performance by the Missouri defense. Give me 38. Missouri wins 38-14. 38-14. One of those touchdowns late for Middle Tennessee.
So that means Missouri would cover in both of those situations?
Ooh, that makes me nervous. Yeah.
20, what is it? 20 and a half?
Yeah.
That does sound large.
38-14 doesn't feel like such a blowout, though.
No, it really doesn't. I'm glad that they have confidence in us. You know, a lot of times Vegas knows things that we don't, so they can see the future. We'll be fine.
Something prove Vegas right. So we're predicting a win. We're predicting 2-0 for the Missouri Tigers. Anything else? Am I forgetting anything before we pick some games? Let's do it then. Last week, Matt picked and did okay. We'll hear from producer Cameron how that went. You doing okay?
Yeah, I'm all right.
All right.
Thanks.
Alrighty. Let's see. Week 1. I don't remember who our guest picker was.
Matt.
I do remember. Let's see. Kyle and Matt both got 7 points. Cameron and I both got 8 points.
Y'all picked the Florida State game correctly.
Yeah.
And that was an upset, so we got an extra point over you guys on that one.
Great job.
And
You guys got
North Carolina.
North Carolina, correct.
That
which was not an upset.
Really pretty easy pick. Should have been for you
wow.
guys.
Okay. So is Florida State. So
Yeah, exactly.
got him.
All right, what's the slate this week?
Alrighty. Our first game this week is Vanderbilt at Wake Forest. Wake Forest is a 10.5-point favorite.
Guys, I gotta be honest, I don't know anything about Wake Forest football, but they're gonna win against Vanderbilt.
Yeah, Wake Forest all the way. Who's
Everybody,
our guest picker this week?
Our guest picker this week is Tim.
Hey, welcome in, Tim.
Welcome in, Tim.
What did Vanderbilt do? They had like an unimpressive win.
They beat Hawaii.
They had another game after that.
Yeah.
Alabama, A&M, or somebody.
Yeah.
And struggled in the first half.
2-0, though.
2-0.
That's all that matters.
First place in the SEC.
True.
Oh, wow. Next up is Ball State at number 1 Georgia.
That'll be a good one.
You want to guess the line?
38.
That's a good guess.
42.5.
Jeez, that's insane.
Georgia won
Yeah.
last week, but didn't look that impressive.
Yeah.
I can't remember who they played.
No.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Ball State put on a performance of a lifetime against Kentucky last week.
Yeah.
And lost.
That's another team going back-to-back SEC opponents.
Yeah,
Wow.
They're going to be sore.
They know where the money is.
Speaking of Kentucky, we have Eastern.
Everybody picked Georgia, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. Do we need to do that?
No.
Eastern Kentucky at Kentucky.
Oh,
There's
wow.
not a line.
Oh, wow. I guess I'll take Kentucky. Eastern Kentucky, that's who Missouri scored 72 points against? No, that was Delaware State.
Yes. Devin Leary was not super impressive last week. Let's see if he can rebound.
Yeah. I'm not scared of him.
I'm not scared. I picked us to beat them anyway. I've never been scared.
No. Why would you be? I'll take Kentucky in that matchup.
Yes.
Everybody's on Kentucky. Next up is number 23, Texas A&M at Miami. Texas A&M is a 4.5-point favorite.
Miami good?
I don't think so.
I Didn't think so either. Texas A&M good? I guess maybe not.
I'll take Miami.
Oh.
Tim,
Okay.
Tim takes Miami.
Oh.
I'll take A&M.
I will take A&M. That's music to my ears. Whenever we have a little bit of a disagreement,
Yeah.
makes the game fun
Yeah.
to watch. Got something to root for.
Next up is number 22, Ole Miss at number 24, Tulane.
Tulane.
Oh, now this is great.
Ole Miss is a 7.5-point favorite.
Willie Fritz, Tulane.
Tulane, no Tajay Spears anymore.
Yeah. Their quarterback last week, 14 of 15 passing. 1 incomplete pass. I'm pretty sure 4 touchdown passes.
He only threw the ball 15 times.
Yeah. 4 touchdown passes, only 1 incompletion.
That's efficient.
Yeah. I remember one time Kurt Warner, when he was playing for the Arizona Cardinals, had more touchdown passes than incomplete passes in a game like that. That's always something that sticks out to me now.
He was good.
Give me Tulane.
Wow.
Yeah. It's at Tulane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The crowd's going to be going
They're legit.
All 500 of them are going to be crazy. Give me Ole Miss.
Insulting.
All right, give me
That
Tulane.
was kind of mean.
Tim
all the Tulane
takes
fans.
Ole Miss.
Ooh. You and me got Tulane?
Yeah.
Okay. We're good. We're good. We got this.
Let's go Green Waves.
That would be
Tulane, Green
that would
Wave.
actually, outside of this little competition, that would be incredible.
They're going to do it.
I mean, they're good.
Yeah.
Kent State at Arkansas. Arkansas is a 38.5-point favorite.
They're not going to score
Sheesh.
38 points.
No. Give me Arkansas.
Yeah, give me Arkansas. But I hate Arkansas and all that stuff. Whatever. But I did see this play from last week where they're playing God knows who, but there was like a blitz from the linebacker or something, and he legitimately hit KJ Jefferson so hard, and he did not move.
Yeah.
He just it was like a child ran into him.
I cannot wait till Sam Pigman has a different quarterback.
Sam Pigman, I forgot about that. Pigman, the Pitman. Yeah, me too. Yeah, Jefferson, he's really good.
I'll take
They'll
Arkansas.
win this week as well.
Yeah.
Arkansas all around. Austin P, the team, not the guy,
Okay.
at number 12, Tennessee. No line.
Tennessee by 1 million.
Tennessee looked pretty impressive last week. I'll give it to him.
Yeah.
Tennessee all around.
But Josh Heupel offense does that against bad teams.
Yep, that's what they do.
Number 11, Texas at number 4, Alabama. Alabama is a 7.5-point favorite.
You think Sarkisian's going to get him fired up?
Ooh.
Get his boys riled up?
Against his old boss.
Oh, that's true. He knows all the industry secrets.
Yeah. You think he's calling up? No. Do you think Kirby Smart would give Sarkisian any tips like, hey, you got anything for me here?
Oh, absolutely.
It's a big. You could score some points here if you go with Texas.
I don't like that you're trying to talk me into it.
I mean, I've heard Texas is back, folks.
That's true.
I'll take Bama. Tim takes
I'll,
Bama.
I'll take Bama.
I think Bama actually looked like a little unimpressive against Middle Tennessee State, like in the first half last week. They've got new quarterback.
Everybody else is taking Bama.
I gotta go Alabama. I would love to be a little contrarian there, but I think Alabama wins.
Next up is McNeese State at Florida. No line.
McNeese State. They will lose to Florida.
Florida sucks.
Florida's bad. Love it. I'm here for it.
What's the coach's name?
Yeah. You think he's on the hot seat?
He's like a little unimpressive.
Billy Napier. I don't
Yes.
think I said it last week. The narrative in my head is they will lose games this year because he knows he has another year to work with. They've told him he's safe. This is the
okay.
narrative.
Okay.
This is the narrative.
Gotcha.
The fan theory. He knows he's safe. He's getting another year. Nobody's ever completely safe, but he knows if he just goes 6-6 again, he reinvented the roster this past offseason, he'll be okay. Quarterback though, they got to figure that out because I'm not scared of him at all. Graham Mertz.
Oh yeah, he was pretty bad.
Hope they don't figure it out.
Yeah, Florida
later.
they'll win though.
Yep.
This weekend.
Florida all around. Next up is Furman at South Carolina. No line.
South Carolina looked pretty bad against North Carolina. They'll beat Furman, but
Spencer Rattler looked pretty good, but had no help.
exactly.
And what are your thoughts on Shane Beamer? Are you a Beamer guy?
I kind of like the whole Beamer ball, special teams, trickery.
What does that mean?
It means, anything could be coming at any time. We're just really mixing it up. We're going for it.
Wouldn't every coach like to realistically say that they're Beamer ball?
Yeah, but they don't do it. You got to go out there and make those tough calls.
So they're about the little trickery and stuff.
Yeah.
They did a little onside kick in this game.
Exactly.
And the kicker got it.
Was it illegal? I can't remember what happened there.
I don't know, but I saw an interview in the press conference after the game where Shane Beamer was upset about the game, and he was blaming everybody and saying the chain gang was eating a hot dog, and so that messed up their onside kick or something. I don't know. I didn't know the context.
There was a thing there where they were ready to do the onside kick, and the officials were just not ready to start the second half yet. Basically.
Oh, okay. Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Is that what he was talking about?
And so
they recovered it,
right? But
it didn't count.
I don't really remember.
Oh, okay.
But it was like the whole team knew we're going to do this onside kick, and it's just really going to make this game for us. And then so they were all ready to go, and then had to not do it yet. So I don't know.
That messed up the whole game.
Yeah.
They were so outmatched by North Carolina, but Spencer Rattler, he's solid.
One thing I like to see, though, is it seems like they're still having some offensive line issues.
Yes. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Their lines on both sides of the ball are pretty bad.
We need that to continue.
Yep. But they'll win this weekend, right?
Yes.
South Carolina all around. Grambling State at number 5 LSU. No line.
Some big games this week.
You just hate seeing Brian Kelly lose.
Oh, it's so sad. I feel bad for him.
Yeah.
I want to write him a letter of condolences.
Yeah. They're supposed to be a national championship team. What did he say? What did he say he said in the post game? This is not the team that I thought we were, or something.
Yeah, you lost to a top 10 opponent.
Yeah.
Just win the rest of your games and you go to the playoff. Right?
Yeah, easier said than done, but yeah.
Yeah, well, you're top 5. You want to play in the national championship? Win the rest of your games.
Exactly.
Not going to happen, though. They're we're inking the stamp up a little bit.
Is Missouri going to beat LSU?
We can't talk about that yet.
Okay.
We were inking the stamp up to stamp Florida State fraudulent, potentially.
Right.
That's what Matt wanted. He was just misreading a little bit. We're inking that stamp up for LSU.
I think they're both not that great.
Okay.
Give me LSU against
LSU will
Grambling
beat
State.
Grambling.
LSU all around. Next up, finally we have a line again. Arizona at Mississippi State. Mississippi State is a 10-point favorite.
Who was it? Arizona?
Arizona.
Okay.
I know nothing about Mississippi State.
I thought you were going to say Arizona.
Well, I know a lot about Arizona.
Okay.
I know even less about them.
Okay. Yeah, give me Mississippi State.
Give me the home team.
Home team all around.
SEC.
Like a bottom half Pac-12 team. Got to be bad.
Oh, yeah.
Auburn.
They won't even exist in a couple of years.
True.
Ooh. Auburn at Cal. Auburn is a 6.5-point favorite.
That sounds like two bad teams playing each other.
Give me Cal.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I'll take Auburn.
What'd Tim do?
Auburn.
Auburn.
Godspeed.
Yeah. Good luck to you.
Auburn's got to travel a long way. That's all I'm
true.
saying.
That's true.
Yeah, that jet lag will get you.
Too late. Next game.
Okay. I was about to change my mind.
Yeah, he's the one that has the contrarian opinion. He put a timer on himself.
Last and certainly least, Nebraska at Colorado. Colorado is a 3-point favorite.
Only 3? Colorado's incredible, right?
They're the greatest team in the world.
The Colorado quarterback is the one that said he was asked, big differences going from FCS to, playing TCU, who was in the national championship last year, and he said, no. He actually had a thoughtful response. He said the only difference I've noticed in one game is the defensive line gets off their blocks faster when you step up in the pocket.
He said, I'm not afraid of names.
He did say that. And that kind of makes sense. The biggest difference you're going to see is like in the trenches, probably on both sides of the ball. But that was such a fun game to watch.
I wish I could have watched it.
I didn't watch the first half, but the second half, they were just going back and forth, making plays left and right.
Yeah, I feel like that's what college football at its best, just like those high-scoring games with like athletic players who are just doing crazy stuff. Travis Hunter is an animal.
Yeah, he's incredible. The high-scoring games and like needing the defense to just go get an interception to change the game. It's like they're either going to score or we get a turnover.
Yeah,
there's
last
no in
team
between.
with the ball wins, basically.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah, that was awesome. Colorado's going to be really fun to watch. I mean, I think a lot of people were doubting what Deion Sanders was going to do, but so far,
TCU may be bad. I don't know.
Yeah, they had to replace a lot of guys, but still, that's pretty impressive going on the road. And I think they were massive underdogs in that game. So, and they have like what, 50 new players on Colorado's team.
Yeah.
So it's pretty impressive.
And they're an underdog at Nebraska?
No, I think they're favored.
No, they're favored at home.
Oh, makes sense. Makes total sense.
Yeah,
Colorado.
I'll take Colorado.
Tim takes Colorado.
It'd be pretty rough to have to pick against your team, you know, against a first-year head coach who's just coming off like their Super Bowl, basically. They are, dare I say, primed for a letdown.
Oh, that was good. Nebraska last week, I thought they were going to win.
Yeah, they should have won.
And I'm an idiot for thinking that they were going to win, because that's what they do, is lose those close games when they should win.
Every year.
New coaching staff. I mean, it doesn't even matter. You can't overcome a curse like that.
It's the corn.
The corn.
The curse of the corn?
Curse of the corn.
Yeah.
You cannot overcome that.
Don't eat the corn.
Wow.
I won't.
But
you won't catch me dead in
I'm
Nebraska.
trying to get them to pick Nebraska.
I mean, but
I
they
was
can win
going
this
to do
weekend.
it before you even tried to
Okay,
do it.
let's
So
go.
I'll take Nebraska.
Let's go.
He's trying to galaxy brain us. into all
There's
these
some
bad
rooting
picks.
interest right there now.
Oh, man.
Go Colorado.
You know why I won last year? Because I didn't do this.
Exactly. Welcome back. No, Nebraska's going to be fine. Don't even worry. You'll be wanting to pick them plenty. Just a little lull here at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it.
Is that it?
That's that.
All right. Well, special thank you to our Patreon supporters at the $10 level and above: Britt Treese, Brian Smith, Ryan Demore, Tristan, Ben Smith, Parker, Daddy JD, Tim Keens, Tyler Harsel, Brandon Groffalo, Brandon Hanks, Matthew Tilly, and Luis Hernandez. Thank you.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. You can find this podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We're on Twitter at Mizzou Sports Pod, and you can email us at MissouriSportsPod@gmail.com.
You can find our t-shirts and stickers on our online shop, MissouriSportsPod.bigcartel.com.
Thank you everyone for listening. We will see you next week after a win.